So this is a bit of a different style video to what I normally do, mainly because this is not exactly my area of expertise, and also because I am mildly terrified of being sued by Gina Rinehart. So all I'm going to do is make some brief observations. I'm not making any assertions. I want to be really clear about that. If The Guardian want to look into it further, I think that'd be a great idea, or someone, Michael West, would be great. You're used to being sued, and this is definitely in your wheelhouse. Anyway, I just thought I should point something out, because this is it's a bit of a coincidence. So yesterday, Trump submitted his compulsory financial disclosure document, and it is pretty extraordinary. And by extraordinary, I mean it's extraordinary that this thing exists. The fact that the president of the USA made more than 1,000 trades just in the month of June, and these trades were valued at somewhere between 78 million US dollars and 263 million US dollars. We actually don't know where in between. It could be anywhere. Now, it's obviously absurd that the US president is trading so heavily in shares while being the single most consequential person on the planet, but it's okay. His trust is being managed by his son. And some people will say, oh, it's actually it's not a blind trust. It's not. Look it up, Google it. It's not a blind trust. His son is the trustee. But while I was browsing through Trump's stock choices, because that's what you do, something kind of jumped out at me. So since Trump has returned to power, there has been just mounting evidence of insider trading, especially as his new military venture into Iran pretty much set the market spinning every day. Matt Bevan did a really great episode on this on Are You Listening? About a lot of the poly market stuff, and it's just kind of crazy. Like, this guy is fairly obviously manipulating the market so people around him can get rich. It's one of the reasons that Trump now offers $100,000 a month subscription specifically aimed to hedge funds, investment banks, and trading firms that enable them to receive machine-readable access to Trump's Truth Social posts before they're available to everyone else, which is just like legalized insider trading. If you can afford that subscription, happy days, you find out what the market's going to do before everyone else. Trump obviously knows that he has the power to shift the markets with a single statement or Truth Social post. And it's a power he uses to repay the Mar-a-Lago elite who occupy his royal court in Florida. Which got me thinking, I wonder how the Mar-a-Lago regular Gina Rinehart is going with her share portfolio. Well, so Gina obviously doesn't have the same strict disclosure obligations as Trump, but fortuitously, the size of her portfolio does mandate a quarterly disclosure through what is called a Form 13F, which essentially just reveals what stock that person had at the end of that 3-month reporting period. So, what does the Form 13F for Hancock Prospecting tell us about Gina? Well, 3 weeks before Trump returned to office in 2025, on the 31st of December 2024, Hancock Prospecting disclosed a US securities portfolio that was worth $1.3 billion US dollars. Its largest direct corporate investments were predominantly concentrated in mining, critical minerals, and energy. Not bad. Not bad at all. However, by June 2026, that same 13F form now shows her portfolio is worth $5.7 billion US dollars. Now, I need to be really clear. This is not like a $4 billion clean profit. We can see from these same 13F disclosures that Rinehart is buying new stock from companies that she's never traded with before, which is a bit of a story in of itself, because if you look at this filing from 15th of May this year, which covers the January to March quarter in 2026, you'll notice that there are 6 new companies that Rinehart has bought stock from worth 133 million US dollars. So that's 133 million US dollars in new stock. 4 of these companies are major American defense contractors. One is a cybersecurity company very closely linked to national security, especially if we had a reason to fear sustained cyber attacks from someone. And a gold miner, which could come in handy if the global economy was to get a bit rocky for some reason, because volatility tends to send gold prices up. And again, Matt Bevan did a really good piece on this about 2 weeks ago. But the issue we have with the Form 13F is that Gina doesn't have to tell us exactly when she bought these shares. She also doesn't have to tell us if she actually bought more shares during that reporting period, but then since cashed them out before the end. All we know is that at some stage between the 1st of January and the end of March, Gina bought about the equivalent of about 180 million Australian dollars in shares in just these 6 companies. Now, Trump and Netanyahu started their war on the 28th of February. Now, I have no idea whether Rinehart purchased these shares in the 59 days before the war and the start of that reporting period, or the 31 days after them. But in fairness to her, these are really popular shares. In fact, I can see from Trump's disclosure from May that the US president bought shares in the exact same 6 companies. Because great minds think alike.
I would say Gina is to Australia what President Trump is to America.
And again, to be fair, it was not like it was just Trump and Rinehart that were gambling on the likelihood of a sustained military conflict that would destabilize the planet. Funnily enough, Pete Hegseth also had a hunch that war was coming. Somehow, that the Secretary of War. According to the Financial Times, in February, before the war began, Hegseth's broker at Morgan Stanley contacted BlackRock about making a multi-million-dollar investment in their special defense industry ETF, essentially a pool of shares spread across several companies in the US defense sector, 4 of which are the same 4 defense companies that Gina chose to buy stock in. I want to be really clear. I am not suggesting that Gina Rinehart used insider information from Trump to trade shares. That would be like Trump's son becoming a strategic investor in a $1.5 billion merger involving an Israeli drone manufacturer 10 days before his father started a drone war. As I said before, I don't even know if Rinehart made these purchases before or after the war started, and I have no evidence that she has any inside information. And if Gina's lawyers are watching, my full name is Conrad Benjamin with a K. My address is Newcastle. The truth is, I'm really not trying to be one of those guys that just says, I'm just asking questions, when really they're trying to suggest what the answer to those questions are. There are a ton of completely plausible scenarios here where Gina has done absolutely nothing wrong, and I mean that sincerely. The problem is, I can only ask questions. We don't know what's going on with Trump's inner circle of sycophantic billionaires, but we do know that they're getting richer from him, and they're getting richer from his wars. And this war is hurting Australia. It's impacting our economy. So it's worth asking, whose side do you think she's on?
To be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their life to me. And I happily stand up next to you and defend her till the end. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Got the stamp for the signs.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her till the day. And there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless
I don't know when I went to Glasgow.
the land.